new Super Mario game was just announced, but not a new Super Mario Brothers game, just a new Super Mario Brothers game. While the new Super Mario Brothers game, released in like 2006, so it's been like 17 years or something like that, has been extremely successful series for Nintendo, and in my opinion has been like a series that has innovated a lot and has done a lot of really smart and creative things for Nintendo overall and for 2D platformers as a whole. It's sort of been associated, it's sort of grown to be associated with stagnation. People feel really stagnated from it. And perhaps because of these feelings, Nintendo at some point in the Wii U era, about the end of the Wii U era and through the Switch's lifespan, have released two Super Mario Maker games. Super Mario Maker and Super Mario Maker 1. Super Mario Maker and Super Mario Maker 2, sorry. And these have also been extremely successful, right? In their own way. And they've sort of become kind of like the face of 2D Mario for the last decade or so. They've been pretty important. They've been extremely viral in many ways. And you have to ask, what is a new Super Mario Bros. Game going to look like? A new 2D Mario going to look like in a post-Mario Maker world? I have to wonder. Now, if we look back at what the Nintendo DS Super Mario Bros. Did, the new Super Mario Bros. For Nintendo DS, it was essentially a game that wanted to bring back that sort of genre. The genre was really, really dead. There really wasn't anything coming out that really was in that style. That, you have to remember, that was before even Donkey Kong Country Returns. And it sort of was like a big renaissance of the 2D platformer. After that, a lot of other companies decided to come back to the concepts, and even Nintendo themselves decided to give it a try. Maybe to a fault, right? You could argue that things like Hey Pikmin or the 2D Chibi Robo are in some ways trying to capitalize on this idea that people do like 2D games, and they're fairly easy to develop compared to 3D games. So we might as well give it a try because there might be some sort of runaway success. But overall, that DS title essentially revitalized the idea, brought Mario back. It gave Mario a lot of his classic moves from the 3D games into the 2D space. You have to remember, there was no triple jump, there was no wall jump in 2D Mario before New Super Mario Bros. For the DS. So it was like a big title that was trying a lot of different things. New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I think, is probably my most favorite one, and it's my favorite one of the new Super Mario Bros. Series. And I think it's definitely the most innovative. You have to remember, not only is this the big new 2D Mario on a console, it was a big deal because of that. And you can definitely see it in the graphical identity of the game. The game is really beautiful, and it tries to have this strong sort of HD kind of it's not an HD game because it was a Wii game, so it was 40p. But even still, it tries to go for this more lush, more modern approach to its visuals, and I think it does them really well. I might even like it more than the visuals of the Wii U title. There's a certain quality to it that's very memorable. It's striking, and it's hard to confuse. But I think the most important aspect of it is that it was the first 2D Mario game in widescreen. Before this one, before Mario Bros. Wii, you essentially had every 2D Mario game be 4x3, aka a square. And these games were beautiful and great and amazing, but undoubtedly a big aspect of why multiplayer may have never been tried in that sort of couch co-op 2D Mario sort of way, even though it makes a lot of sense. It might have been because of that limitation. It might have been because they thought that there was simply not enough screen real estate for two players to comfortably move around the stage and kind of take different parts of the stage at their own speed. But Nintendo, geniuses that they are, decided hey, you know what? We have this new technology, this new standard for video. Why not, give that a try and implement that. And now you end up with Super Mario Bros. Wii. And one of the things people hate about Super Mario Bros. Wii is that, like, it feels empty. It feels empty when you're alone. It feels like things are a little too big. Things are a little too big, spacious between each other. But when you give it the point of view of this is a multiplayer game, this is a widescreen game, and this is a game that is supposed to essentially separate its screen real estate for different players to sort of like have their own little adventures. It makes perfect sense. Like the game is absolutely genius, and to this day I still think that it's probably my favorite one out of the new Super Mario Bros. Games. Just an excellent game. The Wii U saw Super Mario Bros. Wii U, and I don't have a lot of experience with it. I should really sit down and try to give it an honest try before the new game comes out. But essentially, it was sort of the moment where we started to realize, okay, maybe you guys don't need to make a new Super Mario Brothers Wii at this point. Maybe we've had, what are you really bringing to the table with this one? And it was obviously like, well, they're just doing it because they're very popular. They're very popular, very successful, and they should be. They're excellent games, all of them, even the ones that I'm not that crazy about. And they started to be a little more creative with, like, Super Mario Brothers, new Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS being this sort of like collecting coins kind of game and stuff like that. But essentially, the new Super Mario Bros. Series kind of like died off after the Wii U / 3DS one, and we've sort of just been 3 Mario guys since then. And Mario Maker has sort of taken the place. Now, Mario Maker is really interesting because I can't guess how much Nintendo foresaw the fact that it was going to be such a successful game, such a successful game with such a passionate community. Right? What's really important about Mario Maker is that even in the game itself, you can see the scoreboards, what is popular. And by far, what's most popular is like weird, gimmicky sort of cutscene levels that maybe play a cutscene for you, essentially. You don't really have to touch the screen, they just kind of move around. And, levels that maybe play a song, they make Mario play a song. Levels that... levels like that, kind of like passive levels, but at the same time, you also get a lot of really difficult levels. People really love these difficult levels. I mean, Celeste, a game that, I'm not that crazy about Celeste personally, but undoubtedly a super successful, super recognized and critically acclaimed game, hails a lot of its roots in that Mario Maker / Kaizo Mario sort of community. The creator, she originally posted on Mario Maker, and she kind of got her start. But I can't really say she got her start there. I don't know this person's history, but this person they were posting there that they were sort of part of this community. So you could argue that once again Mario has kind of like revolutionized a lot of what we know, even if at this point indirectly. Because I doubt that they would have ever guessed that like the community would just turn into this sort of Kaizo level difficulty maniacs. So I guess what I'm trying to say is Mario Wonder, the new Mario game, looks really good. I expect it to be pretty interesting, pretty new in its own way. And even though it is doing things that like right now, I sort of look at it and I go like, okay, what is going on? Is this going to be essentially like Mario's Sonic CD? We're going to have this like alternate world. It's an interesting idea, but I do expect it to be good, and I expect them to lean really hard into this sort of like difficulty, this sort of like idea of like the Mario Maker Kaizo style. Or just give us something completely new, right? Like, Also, I guess aesthetically it looks decent.